How are you lovely people doing today? My name is John. Welcome to another beautiful, wonderful, and fantastic episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. This is one of the only series on YouTube where I take your questions about the zombie storyline and I answer them. Whether it be a big, a small, or a simple question, I'm more than happy to answer it. So please go ahead, leave your questions down below. Maybe I'll see it and maybe I'll answer it. You may even be in the next episode. If you want, there are two ways to submit your questions. The first way, tweet me at JohnnyJ25. I'm always going through my Twitter and it's one of the best ways to get in touch with me. The next thing you can do is also leave it down in the comments below. I go through all the comments and I guarantee your question will get seen. Without further ado though, let's begin with the episode. We're going to kick off today's episode with a question from Carlos Yahir Alvarez, who asks, if you see the story video for Carrier, you see Oz turn into a zombie at the end, and yet he is still narrating. How and why? So, of course, Oz was beating the story from the very beginning. He was the voice we heard in Outbreak, and then as the story progressed, he continued to narrate it. However, at the end of Infection, he was killed. But in the beginning of Carrier, he was narrating the story. And what this means is that he is telling the story after it all happened. He's not telling the story as it happened, which means at some point, we had to have cured Oz, and he was able to sit down and tell his story. We don't know how he was killed. We don't know who he's telling the story to. All we know is that he is just telling the story, which means he had to have been cured. Now, how was he cured? Here's my suspicion. Atlas may actually have the cure to zombification. I'm going to point this theory out because it was mentioned by the Lonely Mailbox, a link to him down below, but the idea is that Atlas actually has the cure for the zombification. Those bags and those little things that we had surrounding our characters at the end of Outbreak is actually the zombie cure, and Atlas, for whatever reason, is just withholding it from the public, and maybe Sentinel is trying to get their hands on it and make it more widely available to the public. But that's hard to say for sure. This is purely just speculation because we don't have many hard-hitting facts or evidence. All we can really say for certain is that at some point, Oz will be cured of his infection and he will narrate the story. So that's how. All the events that we're playing in are happening in the past, and in this future or present, however you'd like to refer to it, Oz is cured. Moving on, we have a question from Ethan Bergstrom, who asks, is the humanity left inside all zombies? I don't think so. The humanity he's referring to is what I mentioned in the previous episode. Oz actually reaches out to Lily, and he calls to her. And what I said was, there's a bit of humanity in him. He's not entirely zombified. He's not all the way gone. And what I think the reason why he still has a bit of humanity in him is because the zombification is not complete. If you actually look on the walls, you'll notice that it says zombification at 76%. So he's not entirely zombified yet. He's still somewhat human, and I think it's this humanity, this 24% human left inside him that is calling out to Lily. So I don't think the rest of the apocalypse has humanity left in them. Now, they may be cured, but they're not going to be more like Oz, where they're actually going to speak and say words. They're just zombies ready to eat your brain, programmed to destroy you. They're not exactly human anymore. They may be able to be cured, but there isn't much humanity left inside of them. We're going to end today's episode with a question from Ryder Fletcher, who asks, in the Carrier intro video, Lilith says, we trusted you, to the guy who shot Oz, forget his name. Does this mean anything? Well, Ryder, the person you're referring to is Lennox. He is the captain of the Sentinel Force. And the reason why Lilith says we trusted you is because they were the ones that were actually helping us throughout Infection. All those care packages, all those drones, all those points were actually given to us by Sentinel. And I think what had happened was, over time, they started to trust them. They were giving them stuff. They were sending them on missions to rescue humans, and then they were getting rewards. There was a bond built between them. There was some trust. And then when Lennox just comes down and shoots Oz in the face without really saying much, without an introduction, without anything, it was an absolute betrayal of the sort of trust that they built throughout the map. Now, of course, we were never told they were Sentinel. They didn't even know as they were playing the map. They just knew there's somebody out there who's helping them. And when they made their presence known by coming down and sort of saving them at the last minute, they had realized, okay, Sentinel's here. We should trust them. They seem like they're here to help us. They just rescued us. And then when they just walked over and shot Oz in the head, completely betrayed them. So that's why Lilith was sort of like shocked why they betrayed him like that. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this week's episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. If you guys enjoyed the video, maybe give it a like, possibly subscribe. I upload a new episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A every week, and if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll love the next one. But I'm gonna go, have a wonderful day, and bye.